And welcome to the Bulloch Sports Report. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. The Georgia Southern Eagles licking their wounds after a 55-44 season opening loss to Boise State. The Eagles in that game, the good news was the offense looked strong. They scored 44 points against the top 20 ranked defense from a year ago. The bad news, the defense gave up 55 points to the Broncos, including over 270 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground to Ashton Jeanty. The Broncos also had another running back that rushed for over 100 yards, so they're hoping to shore up their defense and get in the right spots this time around as they hit the road for Nevada to take on the Wolfpack, or 1-1 on the season. We'll hear from head coach Clay Helton and a couple players coming up in just a bit. Elsewhere, area high school football, some big games going on. The Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets undefeated on the season with the big game on the road in Savannah as they take on Calvary Day. We'll hear from head coach Jared Zito and some of his players in just a bit, as well as the Statesboro Blue Devils, who after a week off hit the road to open region play at Greenbrier. The Portal Panthers will be at the PAC to take on Jenkins County, a team that they beat last year in overtime by 2 points to win the region championship. And the Bulloch Academy Gators, 3-0 on the season, looking to go to 4-0 at Gator Alley as they'll be hosting Robert Toombs Christian Academy. We'll have that and some softball action for you as well coming up on the Bulloch Sports Report. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com. Get your game on with officially licensed spirit gear and merchandise at the Georgia Southern University store. We carry the gear, you bring the cheer. Become game ready with our wide selection of apparel and custom merchandise. Our Freedom merchandise collection benefits our live mascot who's unable to survive on his own, as well as the Georgia Southern Wildlife Center, where Freedom and many other animals make their home. We have a tumbler for every vibe with Vibe tumblers and can coolers. You can listen to music with a detachable speaker or swap in other attachments. We have locations in Statesboro and Savannah on campus, as well as 2 shops in Paulson Stadium for your game day needs. And check out the website at gsustore.com. Well, the Georgia Southern Eagles trying to rebound from their season opening 55-44 loss to the Broncos of Boise State. In that game, the Eagles held a 1-point lead in the fourth quarter and then gave up 3 straight touchdowns. They're hoping the defense will play a lot better this week against Nevada on the road. So we had a chance to talk with head coach Clay Helton about how the Eagles played last week and how they're hoping to rebound this week at Nevada.
You know, the positives first, I thought, was the play of the quarterback. You know, once he settled in, we asked him to be a great decision maker and really to have no turnovers in your first start, be able to lead the team down the field in multiple scoring possessions, be able to be deep ball accurate, and really save your best play for the most critical situations, a 2-minute drive right before half that was critical to get us back in the game. And then, you know, on third down, going 63%, not only using his arm but using his legs also. I just thought he played an extremely sound game. I thought our red zone was a lot better than it was last year. We had 7 opportunities, 6 of them were touchdowns, and you know, I thought Coach Applin and offensive staff did a really nice job with our heavy packages down towards the goal line. And you know, you get the opportunity to give, you know, Jalen just a little bit of room. He's going to make the most of it, and had 3 rushing touchdowns. Obviously, we played a really talented running back. No discredit to him. He is unbelievable talented, but we helped the situation too. I truly believe in our defense. I believe they're going to get better with each and every game. That's our biggest challenge as a team, is to improve from each game. And I think when you look at where our improvement has to be, it has to be in the accountability to assignments. When you have 14 times against a really great run game that there's somebody not in the correct gap, and that a lot of that has to do with the system of the shifts and motions that they used, and the eye candy that they used. We took the bait some, and it created large gaps. And you give an inch to Ashton, he'll take a mile. We gave more than an inch, and you look up and he has a huge day and is really the difference in the game. If you would have told me, hey coach, you're going to go score 45 points against one of the top 10 defenses in the country last year, I was like, man, that you'd be happy. But at the end of the day, we didn't. It was our job offensively as a team to go outscore the opponent that day. There'll be times that our defense is gonna cowboy up and be able to be there for our offense. That's why it's the greatest game ever. It's a team game, not an individual game. I've been really impressed with Coach Choate and what he's done immediately. One, with their personnel. They had over 50-plus transfers that have come in and really provided a spark to their football team. And then I've been ultra impressed by their defense. They've done a really nice job of being able to limit an SMU team to 3 quarters of really good football, and then they scored 16 late in a close game. And then you go to Troy, which is not the easiest place to play, and beat our defending champion in our conference. So you got a team that has a blue-collar mentality, just like their head coach, is playing good defense and backing up with a run game, another good run game we're going to face, averaging 186 yards a game. So we've got a great challenge on our hand, plus your first road trip, which is a long road trip. So it'll be a really mentally and physically tough football game that we have to be able to approach.
Well, one of the bright spots for the Eagles came on the offensive side of the ball, where J.C. French threw for over 300 yards and a touchdown. He also rushed for a score. Jalen White had 3 touchdowns in the game. We had a chance to talk with him about how he felt things went last week from an offensive standpoint and what they're looking forward to this week in Nevada.
It was amazing to see JC get out there. It's his first career start. And to see him get comfortable in the offense and be able to lead us throughout the rest of the game, it was a beautiful thing to see, and I'm proud of him. And, based on how do I feel about our performance, we scored 45 points, but it didn't win the game. So they scored 56, we got to score 58. So next time, we got to outscore the opponent. Just continue to execute, we've seen JC perform in the last 3 quarters of the football game. I expect him to pick up hot right where he left off at. Just as a whole offense, as a whole, limit ball security issues. Can't have the balls on the ground. Runners, we just got to be more physical when we run the ball. Up front, be more physical. Blocking the perimeter, be better. Just got to find the things that we struggle with in week 1 and just lock in all week at practice and then execute on Saturday. And we made an emphasis, man. We get in the red zone, you got to score points, and some field goals ain't gonna be enough. And when it's inside the 5-yard line, man, it's a given. You gotta have a mindset to get into the box, regardless of the situation. So, it's that simple. You just gotta get inside the box when you're inside the red zone. You gotta leave with points. Well,
the Georgia Southern defense looking to put last week's game behind them and move on, show what they're capable of. We had a chance to talk with defensive back T.J. Smith about how he feels about the last week's game with Boise and how they're hoping to turn things around this week at Nevada.
Like Coach Helen said, we did have a lot of great flashes on defense and things that we could have did well. And I say, we just need to work on carrying it out through the whole game. That's not our standard, and we will not do that again. It was more just, looking at ourselves in the mirror, just being real with each other, being real with ourselves. I myself, I looked myself in the mirror the most. I'm my biggest critic. I could have played better myself, and I feel like that's what everybody did. Nobody came in pointing fingers. We all just came in and said, okay, this is the problem, and this is what we need to do to get better, and that's what we're going to do moving forward. I've watched a little bit of the Nevada film. They're like a pretty balanced offense, like you said. They got a good running back, a running quarterback, a lot of skilled players on the outside. A team that matches up really good with us, and I feel like, we just going to prepare starting, yesterday, and we're going to be ready by Saturday for sure.
And stay with us. Coming up next, we'll hear from some of our area high school football coaches and their players.
This is Paul Newman with Statesboro Real Estate. Have you been on the sidelines? Well, now's the time to list your house. Let's GATA and get after those assets.
Well, the Statesboro Blue Devils coming off a bye week. 2 weeks ago, they knocked off Veterans 21-10. This week, they open up region play on the road at Greenbrier. We had a chance to talk with Statesboro High head coach Matt Dobson, as well as receiver Gage Newsom and lineman Cam Jackson, as the Blue Devils hit the road to Greenbrier coming up Friday night.
Told our kids this morning, that Greenbrier's won, including the scrimmage, and then last year they've won 3 out of their last 4. So they've got a little momentum on their side. I think they're probably believing a little bit more than they have the last 2 years. They lost 19 games in a row until that last game of the regular season last year. And so they got a little belief. You can see it on film, a little bit of excitement in their program. And so definitely an improved football team. And I feel like they're doing a good job. Their staff's doing a good job. They got a good identity of what they're trying to do offensively and defensively. And so our kids, we got to be ready to play for sure. They're going to be a gap scheme, downhill, run the football. They got a really talented sophomore running back who's got some speed. He can get on the edge, and then they've got a returning guy from last year that starts at middle linebacker for him as well. That's a bigger kid. He's about 220 pounds, and he's a downhill guy. And they will line him up at quarterback, as well as running back and even fullback. And so, but they're going to be gap scheme, downhill, quarterback run game involved with those 2 backs. And that's what they want to do. And then, with some heavier sets with multiple tight ends, that's kind of who they want to be. And then they got the ability to spread it out and hit you with some play action stuff and screen game as well. So, yeah, I think for us, it's ball security. When we've done that well, we've been successful. We've moved the football really well this year when we've not turned the football over. That's something Greenbrier's done a really good job of, too, is not turning the football over. They've only turned it over once this year. And so, taking care of the football, and not giving up big plays defensively, I think is going to be the keys.
And we coming out hard to practice, and we really need to focus on our defense. We've been coming up though, working on our defense and stuff like that. We just been watching film, studying them, and we're just gonna defeat the next obstacle. Just got to get out there and play hard.
I feel like since we're on the win, we're doing a pretty good job of communicating. That's something that we need to keep doing and stuff. And I feel great going into this week since we had a bye week last week. What we got to do is we got to play aggressive but under control and shoot the gaps and stuff. And we have to communicate. That's a big part of our defense, communicating.
The Bulloch County Farm Bureau on Northside Drive is a multi-line insurance agent writing farm, auto, homeowners, life, health insurance, and more. Nick Sherrod and the other 5 local agents are on standby for your convenience for in-depth insurance review. And while you're there, check out the products from local farmers. Located at 940 Northside Drive, stop by and see them today. Well, the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets were able to open up their region play with a victory this past Friday night at home against Islands. This week, things get a lot more difficult as they take on top 10 ranked Calvary Day on the road in Savannah. We had a chance to talk with head coach Jared Zito, as well as defensive back Chase Douglas and running back Quentin Reed.
Cleaned up our mistakes from the Statesboro game, which was huge. I challenged our defense before the game. I wanted to see a little more physicality, and they did that, and scored some on defense as well. So made progress in certain areas. Still room to improve. And as you watch the tape, you go back. The naked eye, sometimes everything looks perfect. And as we discovered this morning, there's still things we got to work on to be the team we want to be, and trying to take that first step today at practice.
Big step up in competition. You go from Islands to playing Calvary. A little early to say region championship on the line, but it could be that it comes down to this game.
There's no question. The Calvary's, if not one of the best teams in our region. We knew that on paper coming in based on their history, tradition, and they do a great job as a staff. Got really good players. This is a huge challenge for us, but if we want to be that program, we want to have that type of season, you got to learn how to compete and beat a team like a Calvary at their place. I'm excited to see our competitiveness come out, and for our guys to really buy in and believe in what we're doing and give us an opportunity to win.
And we're feeling good. We knew what was coming into with 3A, but we're ready for Calvary this week. But that's aside now. Really focusing on the run and the passing game, but really physicality is the big thing. Playing Calvary this week.
We're playing with good physicality. We got some more space to improve in, but at that point, I think we're gonna be ready for next week.
Big step up this week. You're going from playing Islands to Calvary. Calvary, one of the top 10 teams in the state. How are y'all feeling about that challenge?
We need to understand that they physicality, but we ain't gonna doubt how they play in and stuff, because we gonna come too. We working more, and we got our physicality here with us. We training all day, no days off.
The Bulloch Academy segment is brought to you in part thanks to Floors Outlet of Statesboro, located on Northside Drive. Come by and visit Mo for all your floor covering needs. Well, the Bulloch Academy Gators 3-0 on this season, looking to move to 4-0. They'll be hosting Robert Toombs Christian Academy Friday night at Gator Alley. We had a chance to talk with head coach Aaron Phillips, offensive lineman Jack Harkins, and receiver William Polk about the game coming up this Friday against Robert Toombs.
They do what they do. They're going to line up, they're not very complex on offense. They're going to give it to their guy and try to use their guys up front and establish the run game. And he's good. He's a bigger back. He's probably 185-pound type kid. Runs decent. One of the things that we've been really good at is stopping the run. We the other night was, they had 51 yards rushing and had two really, really good backs. So I think we've seen guys like that. Obviously, Portal ended up with 171 yards rushing against us for a whole game. Another team that really want to run the ball, who I think the backs there are better than the ones we've seen. And so we did, for the most part, we've done a good job of stopping the run. We got to get better each and every week. One of our biggest goals that we've kind of set for the upcoming few weeks is rotating a lot of guys in and out on that offensive and defensive line. It's hot. We can go into September, the end of September, and still get a 90-degree, 100% humidity day in South Georgia and Statesboro. So we're really trying to focus on finding guys that don't have to. I mean, it's not ideal to play 160 plays a game. We don't want anybody to do that. Right now, we have a couple guys that are doing that, and it's our job to kind of find some guys that can plug and play and give us some breaks. And Jack Lanier is one of those guys. He had a great game defensively Friday night. As good as he is on the offensive side of the ball, he went in and gave us a little bit of a spark plug on the defensive side of the ball. Having Big Jack back healthy gave us an opportunity to let Braylon Cone play one side of the ball. 270-pound sophomore kid, who's still growing and learning, and his play was elevated so much Friday night because he was only playing one side of the ball. It really helped. So we're going to continue to try to find those guys that can help us out. And as far as Robert Toombs goes, if we execute and we do what we're supposed to, we'll be hard to stop.
I feel like our defense is playing really well. I feel like, offensively we got some kinks to work out, but I feel like just as a team we're having really good practices, and, we're executing every day. We're trying to get better every day, and we're kind of just trying to get towards that goal of, winning region and hopefully further.
So you got Robert Toombs coming up this Friday at home. What do you know about them? What do you expect? What's the game?
They're a good team. They're well coached. They got a good running back, good offense, good defense. If we don't come out and play good, we'll find ourselves in a good game. But I feel like if we come out and we play really well, we can finish the game early.
I feel like we're doing good at practice. We have a good chance to make it far. We're, sticking to our plans, doing our jobs, and I think we'll be pretty decent this year.
Got Robert Toombs coming up Friday. It's here at home. What do you think? What's the game plan? What do you think about Robert Toombs?
Yeah, they're pretty decent. They have some good players, but I think if we stick to our mission and stick to our jobs, we can take it over easy and be undefeated.
And again, the Portal Panthers in action at the Portal Athletic Complex Friday night. Big game as they open up region play with Jenkins County. That game at 7:30. As for area high school softball, we had some games recently with Bulloch Academy and Southeast Bulloch, including Southeast Bulloch head coach Amy Civalier winning her career win number 400 before the home crowd against the Islands this past Tuesday. Southeast Bulloch hosting Islands, tied at 1 in the third. The Jackets coming back. Marissa Waters deep to center. This one drops. Paige Nelson scores, and it's 2-1. Hannah Griffin later, the single into left. Blakely Grimes comes in to score to make it 3-1. Still in the third, Paisley Nordoff drives this one to center. It falls in. Haley Morton and Megan Newman both score to make it 5-1. Christina Tisby then the swinging bunt. She's safe. Nordoff scores, and it's 6-1. Finishing touch, Quintrell Reed with the RBI to left as Morton scores again, and head coach Amy Civalier picks up career win number 400 as the Jackets win by a final score of 9-1. Moving over to Gator Alley, Bulloch Academy hosting Edmund Burke. McKenna Fernari on the mound with the inning-ending strikeout. She'd have 7 in the game. Nice defense here later as Riley Ann Claxton gets down and dirty, makes the play at third. Offensively, Fernari helps her own cause with the drive into right. The double brings one home, and it's 2-1. Later, a nice bunt coming up right here by Kaylee Cardell. She hustles to first, the throw to third late, setting up runners on the corners. And the wild pitch will allow Marilyn Belcher to come home and score to make it 3-1. Next, the hot shot to short will be good enough to plate Cardell, and it's 4-1 Bulloch Academy. And finally, Mia Harris, the deep drive to center. Another run scores, and BA goes on to take this one by a final count of 7-3. And that'll wrap things up for this week's show. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.